Hey guys, good morning. I am sort of just getting up, but I came across a video. Sorry, that's my son playing the tuba. I came across a video of a young girl kind of crashing out about not being able to take care of her kids and things like that. And I see this kind of often from our younger people who don't really have a lot of family support, and they are struggling financially, no support from the child's father. I had my first child when I was 22, and I was the poster child of no support. I had no support from my family, no support from people around me. So when it came to financial, I had to be creative outside of job, hustling. I think with this generation, the kids lack that hustle mentality because we as parents kind of enabled them. We wanted to give our children everything we didn't have, so we kind of crippled them in a way. That's why you don't really see many kids going out to play. You don't see kids hustling. Most kids aren't hustling. You see some that like on social media and things like that. But if there wasn't social media, they wouldn't know how to hustle from the street. And when I was younger, I had Section 8. Thank God for Section 8. I had Section 8, and knowing what I know now, I didn't know what to do on Section 8. All I knew is I had a place to stay. Knowing what I know now, with Section 8, I would have completed college sooner. I would have invested, did a lot. Section 8 takes about 30%, I believe, of whatever income you bring in. Though they don't teach Section 8 as supposed to be a tool. Section 8 is a tool. I had a friend when I had got tired of going down to the state, filling out the application, going through all this stuff, who told me when I was telling her I am transitioning off Section 8, and she told me, she said, no, you don't want to end your Section 8. If something was to happen to you, you want to have something to pass on to your kids. So you want to keep the Section 8 because as long as you have it, and if something happens to you where you die, your kids will have a roof over their head. And that did something to me. And as I'm talking about it, I'm remembering how I felt when she told me that. Like, why would I want to pass down Section 8 to my kids instead of passing down a home that I own? Why do I want my kids to go through the stress of going down there every year to recertify, having to deal with the most vile people and disrespectful people? Why do I want to be in my grave resting in peace and my children aren't resting in peace? I'm passing down financial literacy, ownership, respect for themselves and others, teaching them how to be better parents than I was. And that's ultimately the goal, is to train your children, or and teach them how to be better than you were. And sometimes it's really the hardest thing, because you have your kids looking at you like you're not even living that, but you want to teach me that. Like, both my kids have their own savings, and they both working. I teach my son how to save. My daughter is struggling a little bit, but if I die today, I want to know that my kids will be okay, that they will have the tools that I didn't have to succeed in life. Get you some type of degree, get you some type of trade, start working, start saving. It was scary when I ended my Section 8. I wasn't prepared. I did not know how to pay rent. I did not know how to pay my bills on time. You know, common sense would say your bill is due on this day, pay it. But when you're so used to paying $50 a month, $100 a month, I think I didn't pay no more than $300 a month. When you're used to doing that, it's hard transitioning into paying $2,000 a month in bills. They don't teach you how to transition out. They don't teach you how to transition in. You go to these classes and it's pointless, because it's people who are in the state who gives out the certificates, but they're not actual people who lives in it. They don't teach you. There's no education in Section 8. It's like you have to learn on your own. I teach them not. I talk to them about, not having kids until they are financially stable. They have a good relationship. They're married. That person is sane. I talk to them about a lot. I would say to the young kids who are struggling, who don't know what to do, who are having children and don't have $5 in the bank, write down how you see your life. And if you don't see your life any kind of way, then start thinking about it. That's the first step. Where you see yourself, what you want for your kids. And start planning and making steps. You don't want to be in your 40s and 50s still going down there to the state when you're able to work. You're able to make a life for yourself. I want to piggyback on what I said about writing down your goals, or if you don't have a dream for yourself, what did you dream of as a child? Like, how did you see yourself as a child? When I was a child, I dreamed that I was a fashion designer. So I used to make my Barbie doll clothes and things like that. And I was very creative as a kid. When you're going through like so much abuse and verbal, physical abuse as a child, you stop dreaming. But you always wish that your life was a certain way. What was that? You got to tap into that, because you can write stuff all down all day, but if you don't have a vision of where you're going, you're going to be stuck. You're going to be crashing out on social media and you're going to be stuck. I would tap into that, to that emotion as a child that you said, when I get older, my children would never go through this. I remember one time, after I went to school and for nursing, being a new nurse, it was difficult, especially being a overweight nurse. And I remember I had to rely on like private duty, stuff like that in the beginning, because I didn't have hospital experience. I asked one of my siblings to watch my kid as I worked, because I needed to make money to pay the light bill. And this sibling told me no. And it crushed me, because my daughter came home to turn the lights on. There was no lights. And that became my goal, that when my kids come home, they have a home to come to, and that they can flip the switch on and then there'll be lights. That was my goal, to work hard. So when it came to relationships and things like that, men don't understand, because I'd be like, working extra jobs, hard. That was the promise that was the promise I made to myself, that my kid would come home to lights, food, water, shelter. Life isn't gonna hand it to you. Life is hard. Life is hard. You can manifest all day, but if you don't take action, you're not going to go anywhere. You got to take action. You got to see something that you want. You want $1 million house? How you going to get there? What steps you can take to get there? You want a Bentley? What you going to do? And you don't have to scam others to get it. You got to set your eye on the prize and take steps. Do it the honest way. And you're going to make it. I believe in you, young people. You're going to make it, because I was there. I had nobody. I didn't want to sell my body. I had men that I never met who gave me money. But still, I felt like shit. But when you didn't have what I didn't have, no matter what degree I had, I went through hell. And in my opinion, like, nobody should be selling drugs. It's too much money on social media. And I know a lot about the drug industry. That's another story for a different day. But you guys, you're gonna make it, even with no support. I made it. I can't imagine having no support in these times. Parents kicking their children out, and they have nothing, no degree, no nothing. And these kids are angry, man. I don't know.